Here's a collection of actual crimes committed by really dumb criminals. Just sit back and enjoy the insanity as we present. Stupid crime stories you just won't believe. In 2012, a 39-year-old Ohio man walked into the Beaver Creek branch of the Huntington Bank. The man, who had a long criminal record, was later identified as Robert Strank. He initially intended to rob the bank. However, as soon as he reached the teller window, he suffered a medical emergency. The concerned teller then called 911. While they waited for the paramedics to arrive, Strank was determined to finish his task. So he handed the teller his demand note. Yes, he actually did this as he was about to pass out. The paramedics arrived and rendered the needed assistance. They then turned him over to the police. He was arrested and charged with attempted robbery. In 2022, a 48-year-old Florida man wanted to rob a bank where he normally does business. As you can clearly see in the security footage, he wore a very bright, red-colored jacket while carrying a white trash bag. He also wore a pair of dark glasses over a face covering. Police later said he looked like the character known as the Invisible Man. When you compare his disguise to the 1933 Invisible Man movie, you can see the resemblance. The thief pulled out his gun and demanded cash. He then drove away in a red minivan, but was easily caught. Even the local sheriff's office couldn't resist making fun of the whole thing on their Facebook page. Here is a summary of what they posted. I knew as soon as I saw the town and country van that this fella wouldn't be on the run long. He saw it done on Ocean's 11 and it looked so easy. On Wednesday, Dwayne McDonald's conscience failed him, and so did his wardrobe. You see, McDonald wanted money. Suddenly, he thought, why not rob my own bank? In fact, he had just left his bank and saw that they had plenty of money. This criminal mastermind just needed a plan. So with tips he learned from Saturday morning cartoons, our genius begins his pre-robbery preparation. First, he needs a disguise. How about that bright red jacket he is so fond of? Let's call it his lucky robbing jacket. He puts his jacket over the black mock turtleneck he got for Christmas. Perfect. Finally, he needs a hood and sunglasses. Knowing he looks a bit like the Invisible Man gives him confidence. Satisfied, he heads to his getaway car, a red minivan, because the town and country minivan is known as the getaway car of choice for bank robbers. He is now inside his van. All systems are go. So he heads to the bank. Fully disguised, he moves to the teller. He pulls a gun and demands money. The brave teller, likely still surprised by his appearance, complies by placing money into a white trash bag supplied by the heavy-set bandit. It did not take that long for deputies to find the hefty bandit. First, identifying the getaway car. Then locating the address. Locating the suspect. Locating the gun. Locating the clothes, and the money. Our bandit was stopped while driving the getaway car. His clothes were found in a nearby dumpster. The money was in a stretched-out fanny pack, and the gun was under the seat. Kudos to the county sheriff's office employees for a job well done. As you can see, even the cops couldn't take this guy seriously. Mr. McDonald was arrested and booked on numerous charges. His bond was set at $75,000. In 2022, a University of Iowa student wanted to get a drink and hang out at a local bar, but he was only 19 years old. In order to gain entry, he purchased a stolen ID. He then went to the Union Bar located in Iowa City. However, when he presented the ID at the door, the bouncer immediately noticed something odd. The picture on the ID looked very familiar. And it should have, because it belonged to the bouncer himself. He had previously reported his ID stolen a few months earlier, and here was someone using it to get into the very bar he worked at. Like, what are the odds? He then called the police, and it was later discovered he also had the bouncer's debit card. The student later admitted to buying the items from a stranger at a party for $20. He was arrested and later released from the Johnson County Jail. In 2009, a 52-year-old Florida man had a dispute with his neighbor. He then made a Molotov cocktail and used an open flame to ignite it. Next, he tossed it at the neighbor's house. But things didn't go as expected. In fact, his plan literally backfired. Apparently, he hit his target, but the winds shifted and sent the fire back over a fence and into a wooded area nearby. The flames eventually made their way back to his own property. Instead of burning up his neighbor's place, he wound up burning down his own home, all 3 of his own vehicles and a shed. He was charged with arson to 1 dwelling, arson to 2 structures, arson to 3 vehicles, and possession and use of a destructive device. He was in custody in the Orange County Jail and facing up to 30 years. Well, at least he'll have a place to stay for free. But he's probably wishing he had simply thrown a rock through a window instead. In 2012, a 20-year-old Florida man entered a Lowe's home improvement store. Initially, he claimed he was browsing for mango and banana trees. But instead of paying, he took a pair of scissors and held them up to the neck of a cashier. The cashier managed to break away and ran for help. He then approached another cashier and demanded money. However, he was thwarted when people in the store chased him away. After exiting the store, he jumped over a wall and wound up inside the Cypress Cove nudist resort. Once inside, he began to threaten the naked residents with a knife. He then managed to carjack a golf cart from a security guard in the resort. When police arrived, they said he was easily spotted, since he was the only person who wasn't naked. He was arrested by deputies at gunpoint. Police later discovered that he was also wanted for robbing a Kangaroo Express store in his hometown of Green Cove Springs, Florida. He faced a $250,000 bond for that charge. At age 18, he had been sentenced to 28 months in prison for armed robbery and attacking a victim with a can of Pepsi. He was being held without bail in the Osceola County Jail and faces at least 10 felony charges. According to the county sheriff's office, they include attempted armed robbery, attempted battery, and burglary. In 2010, a 31-year-old San Francisco man rode a bicycle up to a woman in the South of Market neighborhood. He then snatched an iPhone out of her hands and sped away. He didn't know it, but the woman was part of a group working with Covia Labs of Mountain View. They were demonstrating a product called Alert and Respond. Designed for police and the military, the program allows for real-time GPS tracking of the location of officers and other people and resources. She had been asked to take the phone out on the sidewalk so they could track her location on a laptop. When he snatched the phone, it was running the app, and there was a map on the screen that was tracking him as he rode away. Apparently, he never bothered to look at the screen. After she hurried back into the office, she called police and the company relayed the phone's real-time location to officers. The crook was easily apprehended a half-mile away some 10 minutes later. The tracking company's owner said that the incident was like a bank robber arriving during a security test. They had considered using some of the program's other features during the episode, like turning on a microphone to hear the thief, or remotely snapping a picture. But they didn't want to alert him that they were watching. The mobile thief was booked into jail on suspicion of grand theft and possession of stolen property. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Our weekly videos will feature such topics as stupid crime stories, classic TV, and the real stories behind popular songs from the past and present. There will be even more categories as we continue to grow.